Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, hoping you have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Here coming at you with a very surprising video. I did not expect Konami to drop a ban list on Christmas Day, but here we are. So I'm just recording this real quick before I go do all the stuff that I'm gonna do, and that way we can talk about this list a little bit and all of the upcoming releases that this ban list sort of implies. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right on into it. So it looks like January 8th will be when this goes live, and we can guess that's probably going to be when the next selection pack is going to drop as well. All right, let's see what we've got here. So starting right off the bat, we do have a card that's actually going from 3 to banned, and it's Obedience Schooled. Taking a look at some of the other changes here, cards to be limited. Maliss P, White Rabbit, going from 3 to 1. Yet another major hit for the consistency of Maliss decks, and yet more UR refunds for those of us who have invested in Maliss. We've got Herald of the Arclight is also going from 3 copies to 1. This and Obedience School might seem really weird, but I'm going to talk about this here in just a moment. Allure of Darkness going from 3 to 1 is also definitely yet another hit to the Maliss strategy, right? And this is a limit that we've seen in paper play as well. The next hit here is actually going to be to Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones, going from 3 to 1. Now, you might think like, oh, is this for actual Sky Striker? Is it for Tenpai? Is it for the Orchest variants that use a Sky Striker engine? Again, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more detail here in just a second, but the last card I wanted to review that's going to get unhit here, the only one that's going to get unhit, is Heavy Metal Foes Electromite going from 1 to 3, which this is like fine, like more than fine. This could have been in place like from the beginning of Master Duel, and I really don't think that many things would have been different. So this is a pretty irrelevant change in the grand scheme of things. Let's talk first about the Maliss hits here real quick. So White Rabbit going from 3 to 1 further reduces the amount of in-archetype starters that Maliss is going to have access to, which, as mentioned before, is going to really hamper its consistency, right? So after this limit, your Maliss starters are 1 copy of Dormouse, 1 copy of White Rabbit, you've got 1 copy of Maliss in Underground, and that's it for the in-archetype starters. Now, they do also have Goldsark as a non-in-archetype starter, which is also at 1. Now, before Maliss received any hits, you know, obviously all of the Maliss cards were at 3, and with Goldsark at 2, that was 11 direct starters that go straight into Maliss plays. You could also argue that Backup at Ignister is pretty much a Maliss starter, since all you need is literally any normal summonable monster to go with it in order for it to be full combo. So going from 14 starters down to, again, the Maliss cards and Goldsark I just mentioned are all at 1, plus the Backup at Ignister at 3 means that's 7. It's literally been halved the number of starters that Maliss has access to. Now, a lot of the reason that Maliss has been able to keep up, even though it's been losing consistency, granted, is because of Allure of Darkness, right? So this also going from 3 to 1 should be a pretty huge consistency blow to the deck, even though this isn't a direct starter for the deck, right? Obviously, it can turn any Maliss monster into a body on board, which is usually enough to go full combo by itself. Or with like any monster you can normal summon. But on top of that, Allure of Darkness was also definitely used to dig you out of those hands where you don't have access to any of your plays at all. So with these 2 cards going to 1, Maliss is definitely going to feel that hit. That said, you know, a lot of these hits that Maliss has already had have already been going on in paper play where Maliss is still really good. Now, I know the OCG just recently banned Red Ransom, but I don't think they've touched White Rabbit at all. So White Rabbit is still going to be a sort of Master Duel exclusive hit to Maliss. I guess the big question is this going to be enough to stop Maliss from being a tier 1 deck? I very foolishly said that Maliss was going to be tier 3 after the last wave of hits, because I didn't think that it would be able to really survive the consistency hits, but I was wrong. So we have to consider that there are other tools that Maliss still has access to, right? Stuff like Cynet mining when it comes to consistency. The big one that a lot of people are going to be talking about, I know, is Splash Mage. Splash Mage was banned a little while ago in the TCG, and then just very recently, the OCG also banned it. So here's my thought process, right? I still don't think Splash Mage deserves to get banned, because I still am of the mindset that if Maliss was removed from the game entirely, not that I'm suggesting that should happen, but if you were to remove Maliss from the game entirely, Splash Mage would not be an issue. The best decks that Splash Mage would be used in would be Mathmech and Ignister, which are both definitely rogue level decks, right? I think that banning Splash Mage was a necessity only for not completely gutting Maliss. So this does present a pretty interesting kind of conundrum, I suppose. Like, do you gut an entire archetype, or do you ban the, you know, Cyberse extender, basically? I know a lot of people have said that Splash Mage shouldn't be a thing, that 2 link materials shouldn't let you go into a link 3. I think this is really hypocritical. Extenders exist for every summoning method and almost every type, right? Synchro climbing has been a thing since the inception of synchros. Link climbing, like this concept of being able to extend within your engine, is not something that's new at all. I think that Splash Mage gets a lot of undeserved hate. 1, because of Joshua Schmidt, and 2, because of how annoying people find Maliss in particular. I don't know. I just think that the 2 materials shouldn't equal link 3 is I just don't ever see that argument expanded upon. Like, okay, why? Why shouldn't that be the case? Why do other summoning methods get to extend like synchro summoning? Because by that logic, Excel Stardust shouldn't be a thing, right? You know, stuff like ranking up in Xyz summoning shouldn't be a thing, but those things aren't ever really complained about, yet I don't really see a difference, right? So that's kind of my issue with the Splash Mage hate, is that it feels... I understand that Maliss is too strong, and that we're at a point where hitting Splash Mage might be the only way to hit Maliss, and from that angle, I could understand it, but people don't argue that angle. People just argue the angle that Cyber's bad, 2 link materials shouldn't equal link 3, without saying why that's unique to Splash Mage. I just think it's, I don't know. There are a lot of times where when it comes to like the common Yu-Gi-Oh opinion, I just don't really trust it, because I don't feel like it has a solid argument behind it. And this is kind of one of those cases. Now, again, I can understand the argument for Splash Mage needing to get hit for Maliss specifically, which I think is unfortunate, but we might already be at that point. However, I will say this too, right? Like I said that, oh, you know, it's either ban Splash Mage or gut Maliss, but we're already at a point where Maliss is being gutted, and you might need to ban Splash Mage anyway. Like, historically, I've never been an advocate for making an archetype unplayable in the game. I think that's poor banlist design. But at this point, like, what are we supposed to do? Ban Signet mining? Like, God forbid, like, you know, any cyberstack wants to search with a discard. That's not too broken, by the way. If Rhoda is allowed at 1, then Signet mining does not need to get banned, right? I don't think Splash Mage needs to get banned. I think we're at a point where it might just be time to ban White Binder. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, if you ban White Binder, Maliss as an archetype is just unplayable. And it's like, I think we might be at that point. I just really think we might be at that point where we have to do this to Maliss. I don't know. It's kind of like, to me, it's like, okay, imagine a broken dragon archetype comes out and we impose all these limits on it, but then it turns out the only way to balance this dragon archetype is to ban stuff like Dragon Ravine and Boot Sector Launch and Striker Dragon, right? Imagine if we had to ban all those cards. Wouldn't that really suck for Dragon Link? Is it really doing anything, like, you know, oppressive right now? That's kind of how I view the whole Cyberse and Maliss situation right now. So that's just where I'm coming from, where I'm saying, like, I don't think banning Splash Mage is a great idea. But at the same time, I do also acknowledge that there's only so many other things we can do to hit Maliss. So I don't know. If Maliss is still a problem at this point, we are probably going to have to ban Splash Mage, as much as that really does suck. Either that or ban White Binder. I'm actually kind of in the latter camp, but I understand arguments for and against both sides, and I feel like I've kind of tried to present arguments for and against both sides here. So it's kind of an interesting conundrum. That's entirely Maliss's fault. it's just 100% Maliss's fault. Such a disgusting deck. Okay, let's talk about some of these other hits here that probably don't look like they make a ton of sense, right? Obedient Schooled getting banned, Herald of the Arclight, as well as Skystriker Mecha Hornet drones going to 1. What do these all have in common? Well, currently nothing, but it's looking to me like Yummy is going to be released very soon. Now, I know a lot of people in the comments are probably going to talk about certain rumors that have been floating around. I don't tend to address those really because I like not being banned by Konami. And moreover, Konami has even gone so far as to send private investigators after people who share information that's not supposed to be public. So in my effort to avoid that situation, I don't really talk about those kinds of rumors. In my opinion, it's just like, here's how I see it. If I did find out that a private investigator was stalking me and that it was because of talking about Yu-Gi-Oh rumors, my first thought would be, wow, that was completely avoidable. So anyway, but it can definitely be inferred by these hits that we're looking at Yummy coming into the game soon. Yummy is an archetype of level 2 or lower beast monsters, and it also very much cares about cards like Mecha Hornet Drones and Herald of the Arclight, even though that doesn't look like it makes a lot of sense. Yummy can very easily synchro summon for level 4, so not only can they use Herald of the Arclight as like a floodgate / negate, but they can also even make use of the ladder effect by combining their deck with Mitsurugi, for example. Hornet Drones, on the other hand, is actually a starter for the Yummy archetype, because Yummy has a rather unique mechanic where they can treat rank 1 monsters as level 1 tuners. So obviously, there we see the connection of being able to go into the Hornet Drones, make Kagari, add back Hornet Drones, get another token, and then that's full Yummy setup off of, you know, your Sky Striker engine. So if you're wondering what these are all about, that's probably what's going to be happening here if I had to guess. And I think these hits are warranted for sure, especially Obedience School to 0. Yeah, just basically being able to have not even just Rescue Cat, because Rescue Cat does obviously work with this too, but a Rescue Cat that doesn't require your normal summon for your archetype is pretty insane, The only real drawback to this card is the lock into beast monsters, but obviously your whole archetype is going to be beast monsters anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you get locked into them. So while it might seem a bit extreme to pre-hit so many non-engine cards for an upcoming deck, trust me when I say these hits are definitely warranted. These are hits we've seen in paper play as well. I think all of these hits actually we've seen at the very least in the OCG. But yeah, especially Obedience School to 0. I was wondering if they were going to do that, because that card being at 3 while Yummy is a thing is it's definitely a bit much. I have made a video on Yummy in the past, actually when they were very first announced. I remember making a video saying, 1, I love the aesthetic of this deck, and 2, I definitely think this deck is going to be tier 1. And if Yummy is in fact in the next pack based on these banlist hits, then we can definitely expect that to be more than likely the new best deck once it comes into Master Duel. Now, I know there are going to be quite a few people saying like, oh, this is a pretty small ban list for post-Duel'S Cup. I think we are probably going to be looking at a bigger ban list at the end of January there. That'll more than likely address even more of the Duel'S Cup issues. I imagine if Maliss is still a thing, like still an issue, there might even be another Maliss hit on that ban list, but I imagine we're probably going to see some out of Mitsurugi and or Ryziel hits on that ban list as well. I think Dracotale will still be in the shop, so I would expect any hits to that anytime soon, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about this ban list. So, again, hope you all have a good holiday, hope you have a very Merry Christmas, and thank you so very much for watching. Let's go ahead and thank our YouTube members and patrons, specifically now in our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.